BFA fam, what is up? What is happening? We are back again for another week. It is week 2, start, sit, live stream. So we're going to answer all of your questions. No question goes unanswered. But if you are new here, we do appreciate a like and subscribe. It really helps us out. That's really all we ask for.
So,
We're for the people. Like even Cody, right? We got a comment that his setup was too dark, and look at him, bright.
trying to brighten it up. I'm people pleaser, man. I'm just trying to get
Yeah.
those subs and those likes rolling in. Can't be having people leave because it's too dark.
I know. I mean, it's rough. So, anyways, let's go ahead and just get right into it. Questions are already here. Appreciate everybody that's rock with us. Not good at fantasy, back again. Oh wait, this is a question. Damn, Dustin got here
Yep.
earlier than the dads camping outside of Best Buy on Black Friday. That made me laugh when I saw that earlier. That is a good question. Jacob, got to start two. Mostert, Flowers, Sutton, Puka, Dotson, Dobbs, Kelly. If no Eckler, half PPR.
Oh boy.
It's a lot.
Well, if no Eckler, definitely tossing in Joshua Kelly.
Yeah, probably have to.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, it's not a great matchup by any means, but if he's going to see some of the pass catching work, they would typically go to Eckler. I feel like just for the volume, I think that offense can be obviously more explosive than what we saw with the Saints running game anyway. So going to put Eckler there. Most of it we have to watch. He did pop up with a knee injury, but again, Wednesdays we don't typically tend to overrate what happens on the Wednesday injury reports. They did pop up with a knee. Flowers, obviously, we have Mark Andrews coming back. Sutton, we have Judy coming back. So if no Eckler, I'm going to go Kelly. It's not a great matchup for Puka, but I'm going to go Puka just based off of the volume that he saw last week. Like you can't set that. So Kelly and Puka if Eckler is out. If Eckler plays, I will go. Ooh, Puka and man, this is tough. Puka and Flowers if Eckler plays.
So if Flowers is a lock to me, I think he's at a great spot this week in this matchup, and he's clearly the number one wide receiver on this team. I do wonder how much things will change once Mark Andrews comes back, but I still think that he's going to be the number one wide receiver, and I still think this team is going to throw the ball a lot more than they did last year. So I feel pretty confident in Flowers, especially in PPR formats or half point PPR as this is, and then from there. I would probably go Puka after that. Like I'm nervous about that because it is not a good matchup, right? Like the 49ers defense is, one of the best in the league, and so that does worry me a little bit. And with time now for kind of people to be now, see this on tape and kind of game plan a little bit more for him, where obviously I don't think the Seahawks were expecting him to see 15 targets. I think that changes things a little bit. So I think I would go Flowers and Puka though. Still, if not, then I would go Dotson. I really like Dotson as well here in this matchup for him. So it'd be between those. Like even if Eckler's out, like I just hate this matchup. Like, and I don't know if he's going to see the pass catching volume to make that viable because the Titans we know their front seven is some of the best in the league. They do an excellent job stopping the run. I mean, they did it last week, and so I can't sit here and say that I think they're going to give that kind of pass catching work to him. If he were to miss, and so I just would rather avoid that matchup if it was me, and so I would go with two of the wide receivers here. Will pick one quarterback: Daniel Jones, Derek Carr, Mac Jones. Also start one: Hunter Henry or Sam Laporta.
Mm-mm-mm. I mean, obviously you like the spot that Daniel Jones is in, but that offense just looked fucking dreadful on Sunday night. Derek Carr coming off a 300-yard game, but now gets a. I mean, the the matchup isn't terrible, especially now with J.C. Horn going to be missing time, one of their top corners going down. Mac Jones, I'm not fucking with it. I know he had a really good game against a strong Philly defense last week, but I'm not counting on that happening again. I'm gonna go Danny Dimes in a bounce back spot here.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for a better bounce back spot, right? Like, Arizona's defense is not good, and if it doesn't get better this week, it's time probably to maybe look to drop Daniel Dimes because they get the 49ers after this game. So this is really a good spot because I know they're staying on the West Coast. They're not leaving here. And so, but it is a great matchup. He has the ability to run the football too. That Konami code upside that he possesses. 700 rushing yards last year. I think he had like 12 or 13 carries in that game. I will say this: Brian Dable's a dick. Like the fact that they left him out there, like in the fourth quarter, they pulled all the starters off the field, and there's Daniel Jones in the rain, just getting abused by the Cowboys. It was like it was punishment. Like, okay, you're gonna play like this? Fine, keep your ass out there then. Like I couldn't believe it that he was still out there. 7 minutes
Yeah.
left in the fourth quarter, and the game was 40-0, and without the starters with him.
The other starters.
Yeah, and he's just sitting out there just getting drilled. So, anyways, yeah, I still go Daniel Jones here because of the matchup, and then I'm gonna go Sam Laporta again.
You're damn right.
Yeah, though I will say Hunter Henry did have a very strong game. For the Patriots. So, which is I feel like he really went under the radar this year. Like nobody was talking about him at all as being a thing, and probably should have, right? Because they still don't have that many weapons there to really utilize. So, anyway,
same cases last year though.
Yeah, we were seeing Kayshon Boutte and Demario Douglas getting snaps too over Judy Smith-Schuster. So that's positive. So, and he's supposedly 100% healthy. Fantasy Gurus, 1 week down. Jans ranked these wideouts: Olave, Ridley, Devonta, Garrett Wilson, Davante. I'm gonna go. Yep. And then I think it's Devonta, Olave,
yeah.
Devonta, and then a gap, and then Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I could flip flop between Devonta and Olave. They're semi-similar to me. I think you feel better about the overall volume that Olave will see on a week-to-week basis over Devonta, but it's definitely, no matter what, it's Ridley at 1 and Garrett Wilson at the end. And whatever you do in between there, like I can get behind almost anything.
It's just such a shame though too, because I was so high on Garrett Wilson this year, but you really can't. Excuse me, with Zach Wilson at quarterback now, like it is the craziest thing in the world that Aaron Rodgers got hurt so quick. Like just first drive, yeah, and there's no coming back from this. At least for the Jets, like there's no option that's gonna. And it's sad because their team is like stacked, right? Like I mean, their defense is awesome. They have all the weapons, Dalvin Cook, Breece Hall, you got the wide receivers, like everything was there for this team to make a deep run, and it got completely the wind knocked out of them. And it's shocking they actually won that game, by the way. Like you would think after that happening, like the team would just kind of be deflated, and no.
That defense, man.
Yes. KD, Mike Williams, or Addison at flex. I'm gonna go Mike Williams here for me.
Yep.
I mean, some things that really need to be monitored is the Vikings could be without three of their offensive linemen. Christian Darrisaw.
They are without Bradbury.
Yes, I know that for sure. And then Darrisaw is questionable as well. I mean, it is. I remember this game last year where they played on prime time against the Eagles, and the Kirk Cousins just looked completely lost in that game. Primetime Kirk never seems to come through very often, and so like I'm not all that excited about the Vikings outside of Justin Jefferson. Like I think you can feel okay about him, and probably TJ Hockenson.
Mike Williams, on the other hand, is in a great spot.
Yes. Laporta or JSN at flex, full PPR. Also, if you have to trade one of Fragment with Laporta, who would be?
Man. What do you have here, Kev? This one's I feel like I'm being blinded by my
This I
bias
would
here.
probably go JSN. Like JSN still had a pretty decent target share in the offense last week, coming off that wrist injury. And I mean, this game really. I mean, obviously they're playing each other. I like Laporta, but it's hard to really get behind playing a tight end. I know JSN's a number 3 wide receiver, but in this scenario, I would probably lean JSN.
Brunil, are you putting Laporta in the flex because you're starting Patty Fry? Because I think you could start Laporta over Patty Fry. I think there's a chance that Patty Fry is either limited in this game or he just might miss it with the injury that he has. And then as far as the trade goes, I mean, I would prefer Laporta, and that's with my Penn State bias being mixed in. But the answer to this question is to just put both in the trade block and see what kind of return you get. I think right now probably wouldn't be the time to try and trade Patty Fry because of the injury, especially if he ends up missing this game. But I would just put both out there and see what kind of offers you get.
And then lastly, should I drop Bateman or Eli Mitchell for Spears?
Yeah, I guess if I had to, it would be Bateman. We didn't hear anything about him being limited going into this game, and I think he played like a 38% snap share. I want to say, definitely wasn't a promising snap share. Let's say that, even if I am wrong on the exact number. Um, Spears was definitely surprising with his usage and the amount of snaps that he saw. It's definitely not something I saw coming. But I guess if I had to, it would be Bateman just because I wouldn't want to, drop Eli Mitchell and then McCaffrey goes down. So if I had to, it would be Bateman.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, more than likely, that's probably what I would lean. I mean, you could drop Elijah Mitchell too for Spears. I think it's fine as well. They're both obviously the number 2s behind their respective options. And I think with Derrick Henry, it might be more of a case of like, let's not ride him to death early in the season and give him a little bit more of a breather. Because Derrick Henry still handled 83% of the running back rush attempts in that game, even though the snaps were a little bit different. But the problem is that like where Spears becomes more interesting is that they don't use Derrick Henry at all on third downs. And so like even his targets last year, like all of them were exclusively first and second down. Like he does not play on third down really. And I think that's where Spears could still carve himself out a role. And this team is so bad, I think, that they're always probably going to be behind, right? Like this feels like a situation with the Titans that the Titans could effectively because I don't think that Ryan Tannehill is it. Like he looked so incredibly bad. Like we thought some of these other quarterbacks looked bad, but he had one of the worst weeks of the all last week. Now it is 1 week, but it still gives you concern because he was really bad last year as well. And this could be a situation where they just turn to Malik Willis or Will Levis to see what they could do. And so this doesn't feel like a positive thing for this Titans team, especially if they lose a couple more in a row here. Like you could be looking at this team just kind of collapsing a little bit. So and maybe they trade off a Derrick Henry or something like that, and then really opens up for Spears. So I think those are kind of the scenarios that you could be looking at here. So Debro, Laporta and Lockett in my lineup, or swap Higbee at tight end and Dotson at wide receiver.
I would leave it.
Yeah,
Not a fan of
I agree.
Higbee's matchup this week.
I am not either. KD, Dotson or Judy at flex if healthy, second league. I would lean Dotson.
Yeah.
Jose, 8-man, half-point PPR, Fields, ETN, Monty, Devontae, Chase, Goddard, Olave, Browns, bench, Hall, Kelly, Brian Robinson, Lockett, Puka, Christian Watson, JT, Cup. Start set. Trade suggestions. Thanks. I
I don't think I'm
probably
making
leave it.
any. Yeah, gotta leave it as well.
Yeah,
As
and
far
I
as
don't. I mean,
trade suggestions, I mean, the thing that's burning, not even necessarily burning you, because I think that's a strong lineup, even in a in an 8-man. Obviously, is having JT and Cup just chilling there, burning a hole in your proverbial pocket, right? Um, but I think, I think if you're gonna make any type of trade, you're obviously looking to maybe get a legit RB1 there instead of ETN and Monty, but I wouldn't necessarily want to take away from your strength of Adams, Chase, and Olave in order to do that. So, like, if Puka has another strong week, maybe you can package him, with something else, maybe like a Brees Hall. Although I do like Brees Hall long term, maybe you could look at doing something like that to try and bump up at RB. But other than that, I like the team you have.
yeah, I agree. I don't think this is the time that I mean, you could, like you said, you could try to trade Cup, but I just don't know what you're going to get for him at this point.
Yeah,
Pick a side: Nick Chubb and Calvin Ridley, or Josh Jacobs, Jamar Chase.
it'll be Chubb and Ridley for me.
I agree. I agree. It feels a little, but yeah, I agree.
No, it doesn't. Just embrace it. Ridley is a goddamn stud. His upside is as high as Shamar Chase's.
I'm not saying that he's not. Like, I like Calvin Ridley a lot, but it's just with Jamar
Embrace
Chase.
it.
I don't like how big of a gap is there between Chubb and Jacobs. I don't know.
I much prefer Chubb to Jacobs.
TX, who to play between Puka?
Puka Nakua. That's
Or Garrett
fantastic.
Wilson?
The fact that we are hesitating on this is such a fucking sad state of affairs.
So I updated my rankings today, and I officially have Puka Nakua as a wide receiver 2.
And Garrett Wilson where? The 3?
I have Nakua at 22, and I have Garrett Wilson at 24.
I think as much as we were just talking about, not being a huge fan of Puka's matchup, I am less of a fan of Garrett Wilson's matchup being now tied to. If it's Aaron Rodgers, it's a different story.
Oh, 100%.
Right? But they're going to get eaten up by that Cowboys defense. Zach Wilson might die on the field.
Yeah. I think Garrett Wilson, as crazy as it may sound, I think Garrett Wilson is actually safer just because we know he has secure target share, where Nakua is obviously is going off of 1 week. And then obviously the matchup is both of them is as bad as it could probably get. But I'll say, I mean, Matt Stafford also looked really good in that start too against them. But where I think Nakua probably has a little bit higher of a ceiling because of the quarterback that he has, and obviously the target share. Like, I don't think Nakua's not getting almost a 40% target share again. Like, that's not going to happen. But I still think that the role he plays and how they utilize him, I think he can still probably have a little bit higher of a ceiling, because I just don't trust Zach Wilson at all.
Yeah.
Which two would you play between Javonte Swift or P. Ryan? Obviously, Kenny Gainwell is out, so it's going to be Rashad Penny and Swift here in this matchup.
Or just straight up Boston Scott.
Or Rashad Penny.
I mean, I'm definitely not playing both running backs, and I can play P. Ryan over Javonte, so it's going to be Javonte and Swift.
You know what's sad, though, that Javonte actually had 18 touches last week, and he wasn't on RB1. He had a goal line carry, but
whenever all of your 4 catches go for 5 yards, that's tough.
yeah. So I would still say, from a usage standpoint, it was still a really solid outing for him. So I think moving forward, I think Javonte is a fantastic. Like, I tried to get time to record a video. I didn't get a chance. I think I'm going to try to do it next week, though, for a buy sell. But like James Cook, Kenneth Walker, Javonte Williams are like my three top buys for the running back position because all of them, none of them had great performances, but all three of them had really strong usage numbers. All of them handled over 60%, of the touches and that in their backfields. And so I think they've all, especially James Cook, like I think he is the easiest one to buy, in my opinion. And he had like 65% of the touches in that backfield, had a 15% target share in that game. So I don't think it would cost a ton to acquire James Cook at this point. And so, uh, and Kenneth Walker, I guess Zach Charbonnet is just not going to be a thing. I think Charbonnet played what it was like 22% or something like that of the snaps last week. So Kenneth Walker clearly is a thing. The only concern there is that they lost both of their offensive tackles. So that's what they signed 41-year-old Jason Peters. So, yeah. So we'll see on that. But I think all three of them are really strong buys right now. Dalvin Cook, Elijah Moore, or P. Ryan in the flex. I'm going to go with Elijah Moore here.
Yeah.
Obito, OD, Mike Evans, and Mike Williams for Keenan Allen. I'm actually okay with that. Like, I want to move. Like, this is the time to sell high on Mike Evans, scoring that touchdown because volume I just do not think is going to be there for Mike Evans this year. And Mike Evans really wasn't great last year with Tom Brady, and I don't expect him to be great this year with Baker Mayfield. So, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I could be talked into either side of this, right? Like, if you need the depth, I wouldn't mind sending off Keenan for both of those pieces, or if you're just trying to take two depth pieces and move up, I'm good with that too. In a vacuum, I'm going Keenan Allen here for not sure which side you're getting OD, but I'm actually fine with it either way. Assuming if you're getting both wide receivers, you need the depth, or if you're packaging both to move up, I'm fine with that too.
And then also Kyron Williams or Joshua Kelly, RB2 this week.
I mean, if Eckler sits, I'm gonna go Kelly. But if not, I will go Kyron Williams.
Yeah, I agree. If Eckler sits, is probably a scenario where I would be a little bit more okay, just because I'm not going to buy completely into the week one usage of how the Rams utilize Kyron Williams. Right, like it
Yeah.
wouldn't shock me if it kind of flipped a little bit. So, but I do think it was really encouraging what we saw from Kyron Williams, though.
Yeah, we kind of saw it last year too. I think people forget like how bad Akers looked at the beginning of the year. He was trying to get traded, wanted off the team, and then had that run. The last 4 or 5 weeks where he ended up being an RB1 over those weeks. So like this, we've kind of seen this before. So I wouldn't be surprised if the usage flipped. So if Eckler is out, it's Josh Kelly, but if Eckler plays, it's Kyron Williams.
Yeah. Raylan just traded Amari and Javonte for Higgins and Pierce, and it's in man PPR. What y'all think? I think it's fine. The only thing that concerns me about Pierce is really just going to be like, one, I was shocked that the Texans threw the ball 52 times against the Ravens, but also I think that was more of a game theory thing for them that they just weren't going to run the ball against them. And I saw an interesting stat that basically, since last year, in games that the was one score or less, Dameon Pierce has averaged like 15 fantasy points per game and like 21 touches. And the games that they have has been 7 points or more that they are trailing by, he averages only like 9 PPR points per game. So that is a little obviously concerning because there's probably not a whole lot of games that we're expecting him to be the Texans to be really close with. But either way, I think it's fine there in this trade. I still like Dameon Pierce. I think Dameon Pierce can, especially once they get their offensive line in order and some of their guys back, I think he'll be a little bit better off. This division is not one that we're really outside of the Jaguars should be all that concerned with in terms of like this week. I think it's a really great spot for Dameon Pierce because of the matchup against the Colts, and then Higgins. Obviously, Higgins is like the best one of the best buy low wide receivers there is. Everybody's freaking out about the Bengals. I've seen people trading away Joe Burrow for penny on the dollar because everyone overreacts to week one. And so, yeah, I think you won that. D-Bro, again, better pick up on waivers. Kyra or Gainwell or Josh Kelly?
Gainwell.
Yeah.
Only because I think Kelly is only going to be useful whenever Eckler's out. I know he had the 16 carries for 90 yards and score, but the Chargers also ran 80 plays in that game, and maybe I missed this. I haven't seen anything about when Eckler might have picked up that ankle injury, so that could have played a part in it too for him seeing as many touches as he did. Um, I just think that Gainwell has a better chance of standalone value than Kelly does. I'm not fully buying into this 50-50 type of split that we saw in week 1.
Not to mention, I don't know how much I'm just buying Josh McCulley as a whole, right? It's not like this is his first year in the league, right? It's another player that's been around for a few years. It hasn't really done anything with the opportunity. So we'll see. Because they've been hoping for another player to step up. So I do think Gainwell is a little bit safer. Though I do worry that if somebody really blows up this on Thursday, that Gainwell, that role that he had might be gone.
Sure.
C Crip. What's up, C Crip? Hey guys, how's it going? C Crip? I need an RB flex by PPR or full PPR. Mixon, D Hop, Zay Flowers, Rashad White, Herbert, Algier, Javante. Jesus. I've got a lot of options. I'm starting Justin Jefferson, Henry, and Devonta.
RB is going to be Mixon. Flex. Man, I'm struggling with remembering these matchups this week. I will go D Hop at the flex. Slightly over Zay.
I will go Joe Mixon, though I do not love it at all. I will put that out there because Baltimore is a not good matchup for any running back. And I will say this, Joe Mixon did not look good at all week 1, but who did in that game? But Rashad White, he's this is a much better matchup for Rashad White, but I would also argue that last week was supposed to be a really good matchup for him as well. The encouraging thing for Rashad White is he handled almost 80% of the snaps in that game. And so that is obviously a big encouraging sign for him, but he also just looked just as inefficient as he did last year. But I still think you have to go mix in. And then other than that, I'm going to go with Zay Flowers here.
I don't mind it. I'm going D Hop slightly over, like I said, just because of both those guys are going to get volume, but I think D Hops is more secure with Andrews potentially coming back this week.
Yeah, Philip. Josh Allen cost me my first game. Oh, he cost a lot of people, and so did Joe Burrow. There were quite a few just really bad spots last week. It felt like you either needed to have Tyreek and the Cowboys D. You had either one of those, you were feeling pretty good about yourself. But there was a lot of just really bad performances across the league by a lot of players that we expected a lot from. So again, it's week 1. Let's not overdo it because there's a lot of overreaction theater this week by a lot of people on players, which we shouldn't be doing after 1 week. Need a flex, Puka, DJ Moore, or Zay Flowers?
Zay.
I'm going to go with Puka here. Lord help me. Ronnie, what's up? What's good? Need to full PPR, Barkley, Mixon, Dalvin Cook, Jamal Williams, AJ Dillon, McKinnon. So this is going to be Barkley and Jamal Williams for me.
Barkley and Mixon for me.
I just can't do it. Can't do Mixon against the. Though I will say, it feels like every time I'm completely off Mixon and I hate the matchup for him is when he just goes out and puts up 30 points. So, Booty Warrior, great name. I say it every time. Josh Kelly or Justice Hill. I lost Dobbins for the year. My other running back is Breece Hall. Half-point PPR, Superflex, redraft. If Eckler were to be out, I'm going to go with Josh Kelly.
Yeah.
Because I have no fucking idea what to expect from this Ravens backfield week 1. Or the first week with him gone. So
Yeah. If Eckler plays, then what are you doing?
then I'd probably go Justice Hill, but I do not love it. Or actually, I'd probably go Breece Hall, actually. Just give me Breece Hall. I know it's not a great matchup for him either, but we know he's super explosive. We saw it last week rip off the 83-yard run. Like, if Breece Hall is an option here, I'd just go Breece Hall. Unless he's saying he's starting Breece Hall. If he is, then I'd go Justice Hill. Debro again. Puka and Nico. Put them together. Still available on waivers. Would you drop Gabe Davis for one of these guys? Yes.
Yes.
And Debro, can you get both? Because I really want both of them. Like,
yeah,
I really like Nico Collins. I think there was a lot to like. I think he saw 11 targets last week. He was just outside of a player that I could talk about on the waivers. I think he was like 61% or something like that. But if he's sitting out there, like, I'm adding him everywhere I possibly, especially if the Texans are going to continue to throw at this high rate that they were. Because I did not, like I said, I did not see that coming, and it makes it much easier for him. If you can't add both of them, I'm going to go with Nico Collins. I know it sounds crazy because of Puka, but there's still this chance that this was a 1 week wonder, and Puka Nacua could drop back down to earth a little bit, and he's not, everything we just saw. So I am 100% okay with just going with the more safer option and Nico Collins.
Yeah, let's know if you can, if there's anyone else you can drop, and then I'll answer.
Andrea named one running back: James Conner, Miles Sanders, or David Montgomery PPR. I'm gonna go Monty.
I'm gonna go Monty. Yeah. I'm gonna go Miles here.
Yeah,
but Monty would be my second.
Actually, Connor would be my second, but I have James Conner. I have James Conner at 23, and I have Miles Sanders at 25. I just hate this matchup for him. So, over on the Facebook, Philip, should I start Josh Allen or anything? Or I think it's supposed to be Anthony Richardson. Probably just autocorrect. You're going Josh Allen. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to give up on Josh Allen after one poor game.
Yeah, I mean, they have one of the highest totals on the slate too. So 28.25 implied point totals against the Raiders. So this is a much better matchup. We talked about it here. The Jets defense is real. So
super legit.
Yes. So this was a much tougher matchup for him. Now this week he gets a much, much easier matchup. So Raylan needs to start two: Pollard, Breece, Dalvin, or Pierce. Pollard is a lock. We don't even have to ask. That's 100% locked in, and it's going to be Dameon Pierce for me.
Yeah, I'm going to go Pierce as well.
Also agree, Raylan. If you haven't liked the stream yet, give it a like and subscribe. Happy you could put that in there because I think we do a terrible job at self-promotion. We don't really do a whole lot of that. So, Tommy, if Aaron Jones can't go, should I start Dylan, Brandon Cooks, Joshua Kelly, Gabriel Davis, or Hollywood Brown PPR flex? I still think Aaron Jones plays. I know he said earlier in the week that he was good to go, but I will also say with that the Packers are notoriously the most cautious organizations when it comes to injuries, where they will hold players out. So it also wouldn't shock me if he didn't play, even though Aaron Jones himself said he was fine. But he did miss practice today, so that is something to note. But if he were to miss, it would be I would just go AJ Dillon.
Yeah. Samesies.
808. What's up, guys? Off to a rough start, but I need to flex between Javonte, Jamal, Jerry Jeudy, Romeo Doubs, Kyren Williams. This is going to be Jamal Williams for me.
I'm going to go with the other Jay Williams.
Javonte. Okay, well, Can't help you out there, 808. So maybe the chat can break the. That's what we need to start doing is asking the chat. What are their thoughts? See if we can break the tie. Secret, hey guys, how's it going? I need to.
We already get this
Did we
one.
already answer this?
Yeah, we already got that one.
Secret, try to put it in here twice. Kirk Cousins or Baker Mayfield? Is this where we're at? Listen, as much as I don't love this matchup, I still am not playing Baker Mayfield. So I'm gonna go Kirk Cousins.
Man.
Don't do it. Don't say it. Don't even say it.
Kirk Cousins, but it's close. I don't think it's a ridiculous question. The Bucks actually have a slightly higher implied point total. Like if you were thinking
is there
that
any other options? Like there's got to be something, right?
especially if Kirk Cousins is going to be missing those linemen, goodness.
Oh, I know, but
gracious.
it's still Baker Mayfield. Like I just can't.
AJ, let us know if there's anyone else on waivers. Boneless wings or bone-in wings?
So actually, you're asking bone-in wings or chicken nuggets?
This to me depends. Am I at a sports bar, or like am I at like a function at like someone's house? If I'm at someone's house, you don't want to get all greasy and dirty and fuck up their stuff. So I'm gonna go boneless in that situation. But if I'm at a sports bar, bone in. They're both delicious. Call them nuggets. Call them whatever the fuck you want. The high horse on this wing shit is stupid. Boneless wings are fucking delicious. Bone-in wings are delicious. Chicken nuggets are delicious.
Yes, but they're also for children. And chat, I need to know. Like it is 100%. It is bone-in wings always, always. Unless you're making them for your child. The real key, like you could easily eat like on the flats. You just take it and press it down, and boom, it makes it like a little umbrella. Put it in your mouth, go. Like it's like that's the way you do it. But it is 100%. I don't even lost my spot, but it's 100% bone in wings for sure.
Kyren Williams or P Ryan at the RB2.
I'm gonna go with. I'll tell you in 1 second. I'm gonna go with Samaje here on this one.
Man, we are. I'm gonna go Kyren.
Marcus, first of all, very cute avatar here. A little Christmas picture in the background. Love to see that. Full PPR, cute kids. Full PPR, Richardson or Fields and D-Hop and Addison. So I'm going to go Fields. I know he did a lot and look good, but I think he bounces back this week.
Fields and D-Hop.
I agree, although I do not love D-Hop, but should be a better matchup. E.T. Hey, TFA fam. I drafted Dak, but he has a tough matchup against the Jets. Mac Jones is still on the waiver wire. So should I stream him for this week? Is there like a Jordan Love sitting out there? Like, I want Jordan Love. Jordan Love's out there. Pick him up, start him, right? Because I agree this isn't a great matchup against the Jets. But I also don't love Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Put it in reverse. Terry. Hayden Hurst, Zach Ertz, who's surprisingly got, 10 or 11 targets last week?
Yeah.
Zay Jones, Kadarius Toney, Mooney, better add full PPR. Who would you add here? To me, it's Zay Jones or Mooney. But I think it was really encouraging to see how much he played and how often they use 3 wide receiver sets. And so I do think Zay Jones is an extremely viable option. I mean, unless you're like desperate at tight end, you could add one of those, but I think there probably still are some better options. I think Jake Ferguson, even though he didn't have a great game, the targets that he saw, I think, were positive, and the amount that he played is also very positive. But if you don't, it's going to be Zay Jones or Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, Zay Jones for me.
First question over on Twitch. PPR, trade away Puka Nacua for DJ Moore. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably would. Just DJ Moore hater.
Also, my other league, same format. I'm starting D Hop and Evans at my wide receiver flex. I have Stevenson and Pollard running backs. Who would you start? I'm gonna go Swift.
No, would you
Oh wait,
start?
would you start over?
No,
No, I would not.
Yeah.
Oh. So this is James Cook for me.
Yeah, unless Aaron Jones sits.
Even if Aaron Jones sits, I think I would still go James Cook for me.
Okay.
Isaac, Swift is a good play for Thursday with Gainwell out. Yes, he is.
Wouldn't necessarily say good, but I think he's a better play.
And then if Christian Watson is healthy, do I play him, Addison, Brandon, or Puka in my flex? I'm going to go Christian Watson there.
Yeah, if he's healthy.
I'm trying to trade for Goddard.
I think that was in the Patty Fry Laporta.
Yeah.
You dropped Davis for Nico, missed out on Flowers on waivers due to the dub I got this week against the team that drafted Kelsey #1 and started Rodgers. Yes, would do that.
Yeah, for
Ebro
sure.
wasn't the one who asked about dropping Davis for earlier, right? I can't remember. Yeah, we had a similar.
So.
You can go to the next.
And also,
one.
good news. Some good reports about Travis Kelce. It sounds like he will play this week, or there's a pretty good shot he's going to play this week. So he did return to practice today, which is a positive.
It was Debro about the drop question.
Would you trade Derrick Henry for Josh Jacobs in a 12-man PPR league?
I think I want Henry.
I probably would.
If Josh Jacobs didn't have the year he had last year, and he had the year that he's had like basically every year where he's like a running back 11 to 13, like we wouldn't be thinking about it.
That's true. I think it's fair. This is amateur hour. LOL Durag. I kind of have a weird scenario from our running backs at a 14-man PPR league. I got Gibbs, Monty, and Pacheco. Wide receivers are pretty stacked. Do you think it's weird that I'm starting both Lions backs this week? No. I mean, I think for the most part through the year, I think you're going to see where there's a lot of weeks where they're both usable. This is a team last year that kind of did the same thing. We know Monty's going to get the majority of the bulk of the goal line work and stuff like that. And where Gibbs is definitely going to be well more involved moving forward, in the gameplay. Like, I think where we saw him, what was he, 29% or something like that, snaps, like it's going to go it's going to go much higher than that. I know Dan Campbell spoke about that. It was by design to kind of start him out slow. And it was clear that who the best running back on that roster is, and it's Jahmyr Gibbs, right?
Yeah.
And so I think for this week it's fine to do that, but I also really wouldn't mind if you wanted to go Pacheco too, because like it does worry me because you're putting all your eggs in one basket for these two guys, and one of them could easily just shit the bed, where and just not get as much opportunity, kind of like we saw last week here. So if you had to, like, who would be the one you would go with? Would it be Monty?
Yeah, just in case, like they say they're going to get Gibbs more involved. Like, what does that really mean for week 2? Does that just mean like a couple more touches, or he's going to be like unleashed? You know what I mean? So I still think, like you said, the goal line touches, the short down and distance touches are still going to go to Monty. So that's the way I would go if I had to pick between them. And the other thing too is, like, at least like the Lions, you're only dealing with 2 running backs. Last week we saw all 3 get involved for the Chiefs. So Terry, I would do this if you aren't starting, like if you're not depending, quote unquote, on Gibson. I would, because I think Jerome Ford has the higher upside if something were to happen to Chubb.
Yeah, and I mean, Antonio Gibson seems to be once again in the doghouse after he fumbled. So, which I don't know. I mean, Brian Robinson should be in the doghouse for just being terrible. So, I mean, he once again was awful last week with the touches that he's been given. And the dude's like consistently gets 20 touches per game or 20 carries per game, and he still does not a whole lot with them. So, 808. My other league also needs a flex, PPR, Algier, Lockett, Kirk, Pickens, and Dobbs. I'm going to go with Lockett here.
Lockett.
Johnny Two Hands. Should I drop Njoku? Ferguson? No.
Yeah, I would not do that.
Yeah. Marcus, I made a trade this morning. Tua for Fields. Was it a bad trade to draft Tua? No, I don't think so. I think you actually bought low. Like, Justin Fields is still going to run the ball a lot this year. And he still has that potential to get close to 1,000 rushing yards. And I do think there are better days ahead. Now, I will say this. I think Getsy and Eberflus are in over their head. Did you see some of the stuff that Eberflus said today about DJ Moore? Like, here, I have it real quick because I sent it in one of a DM to somebody, to Ryan, actually, who's, obviously a Bears fan. Matt Eberflus said he isn't sure why DJ Moore came out of the game after back-to-back receptions that got Bears into the red zone. Might have been a part of a rotation, but he didn't really have an answer. How do you not know that as a head coach? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not the answer you're looking for from a head coach. Like, I don't know why that happened. Oh, okay, cool, man. Like, and some of the play design that they do and how they've utilized him just doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know. It feels like a situation here where those guys are going to get fired before the end of the year. But yes, I still think Fields, because of all of the rushing upside that he does possess, I think you won that trade.
Yeah, and there's always that issue in the background if Tua ends up getting another concussion, because he was under duress a lot. Teron Armstead already starting with an injury to start the year off, which is not great. So obviously, the concussion issues are always gonna be there. Like, anytime if you have Tua and you see him get sacked, like, you're immediately like turtling up, clenching your beehole.
Yeah. Who should you drop? I need to pick up a defense. Who should I drop out of Atwell, Reynolds, and Tony Rice? I'm gonna drop Josh Reynolds.
Yeah. Speaking of beeholes, pick 3 turds: Justin Steele, AJ Dillon, Kittle, Waller, Kirk, or McLaurin.
Elite transition. That was an elite transition. I'm gonna go McLaurin, Waller, and Dillon if Aaron Jones is out. If he's not out, then I'm going to go with George Kittle.
Yes, agreed. DJ Moore or Sanders for Johnny Two Hands?
I want to go DJ Moore.
God, I hate DJ Moore. I don't know why. I hate him. But I'll go DJ Moore here, and I'm gonna regret it. Fantasy Gurus passing along our trade information. He said he'd do Josh Allen and Jamar for Ridley and Mahomes. I feel like Mahomes, Allen's supposed to drop off and Chubb to Jacobs. I went the Ridley Mahomes side.
I would go Josh Allen, Jamar.
Stop being nervous about Ridley, man.
I'm
Just
not nervous about
embrace
Ridley
it.
at all, but we're still talking
Just
about
embrace it.
Jamar Chase. Like he's easily the wide receiver 2, right? Heading in. Just a week ago, we were drafting Jamar Chase at wide receiver 2, and now we're trying to trade it for Calvin Ridley. Like, because to me, Mahomes and Josh Allen is just kind of a wash, and so it's like comes down to those two. Like, I want the Jamar Chase side.
Crystal VB trade offer. I get Darren Waller. They get Mike Williams. Wide receiver Amon-Ra, Ayuk, Pickens, Zay Flowers, and tight end is Kyle Pitts.
So my answer is yes, I would do this, but I would also I would maybe try to make it a little bit bigger of a trade and include Kyle Pitts because you don't need Kyle Pitts and Darren Waller on this. And so I would include Kyle Pitts, trade him back to them, and try to get somebody from their team and involved in the trade. But yes, I would make that trade.
If they could do something like what you're talking about, I would do it. But I think I'd rather have Mike Williams over Darren Waller.
I'm not, like I said, like I'm not going to put too much stock into what happened on Sunday on that game. I know that game was horrific, but Darren Waller is still going to see a ridiculous amount of targets. So I would be okay with it.
Nico, Lamb, Ridley, Cooper, Moore, Addison, and Pickens. Who do I start and should I trade any?
Well, I don't know how many you need to start.
Yeah, I don't know how many you need to start, but I would rank them. I would put Ridley over Lamb. And then I think the way that they're listed out, and then I'd put Pickens over Addison. But that's how I rank them. So Ridley, Lamb, Cooper, DJ Moore, Pickens, Addison.
I would go Ridley, Lamb, Cooper, DJ Moore, Pickens, Addison.
That's what I said.
Ashton just traded Musgrave, Nico Collins, and Brian Robinson for Mark Andrews. How do y'all feel about that? Yes, I think that's a W. He traded, I love Nico Collins, and Brian Robinson is a quintessential Jag, and then Musgrave, obviously Mark Andrews. So I think you did very well in that trade. Joffrey,
yeah, that's
pick 2.
The good old volume.
Cooks, Van Jefferson, Sky Moore, Kendrick Bourne, Allen Robinson. Pick 2.
Allen Robinson, lock him in, baby. And then who do the Pats have this week? Man, I am really struggling with
Miami.
Miami.
I think they play on I believe they play prime time.
Sunday night. Yeah. Just saw it. I wish I could say Cooks, but I just don't know how often they're going to have to throw the ball in that matchup. Man. I'm going to go Allen Robinson and Marquise Brown. With Deontay Johnson out. Back in time.
Yeah, I said that because I wanted you to, you're a Yinzer, so Crab Gravy. It's nice to see you. Nice to see you back there, Crab Gravy.
Boys are back in time.
I got to go back up and figure out where we're at. I just saw that when I was scrolling through.
Got it.
There we go.
Reborg. Need to full PPR. Zay Jones, Tutu Atwell, Gabe Davis, or Tyler Algier. Stafford did look good. Yins guys will love it.
So I'm gonna go with Zay. How are we already here with needing these players? We got to start, but we're not even to buys yet. Revorg. I'm gonna go Zay, and I'm gonna go Tyler Algier.
Uh,
I know Tutu Atwell had a really good game, but like I'm not against the 49ers. I am not trusting that to happen twice. And then Gabe Davis is just so incredibly hit or miss. You never know what you're going to get from that man.
yeah, I mean, I guess if you just need to lock in touches, I would go Algier. But if if these are unless this is a deep league, if these are your options, I'd probably go Gabe Davis and just swing for the fences. Better matchup against the Raiders. Saw 4 targets. I mean, not great, but all he needs is the one to pay that off.
I watched a video of all of Javonte's touches from
Yes.
Sunday. He was actually looking pretty explosive for someone who had a minced knee last season. One way to describe it. I would completely agree with you. I think he looked really good.
Raheem London, Kyron, or Pickens and a half PPR.
I'm gonna go Pickens.
Yeah. Don't love the matchup, but I'll go Pickens as well.
Not good at fantasy again. 8-man, 1 flex. D-Hop and McLaurin for too much to get Devon.
Is that too much? Yeah, I think in an 8-man, Hill, Higgins, McLaurin, D-Hop, Addison, Deontay. I would do it in an 8-man. Package up 2 depth pieces. Like in an 8-man in these smaller leagues, I don't really give a shit about depth. Right? Like you just want to try and pack that lineup with as many studs as possible.
Yeah, because I mean waiver wire is going to be packed with options. So Porter, what's up, Porter? Joe Burrow or Tua? I'm going Burrow.
Yeah, I'll go Burrow too. Bounce back.
Yeah.
Cole Kmet or Justice Hill at the flex?
I'm going to go Justice Hill.
Justice Hill for me as well. Hey, Ashton, I trade Puka and Kelly for Godwin and McKinnon. Half PPR.
Or, yeah, I would. Take that back.
Yes,
Yeah,
I would do that. I would do that.
just for Godwin. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
McKinnon doesn't do anything for me. Even less so in a half-point PPR.
Trace coming through with the super chat. Appreciate you. Thank you, guys. Would you drop Gibson or P. Ryan for guys like Moss, Jackson, Justice Hill, or Gus Dabas?
For Gus Edwards, I think I would. And also, Trace, do you have Kmet and Schultz? Because if you do, just drop Kmet.
Yeah.
But if not an option, yes, I would be okay with that. And it would be Gibson who I'd want to drop, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I would just I would wait and see first, Trace, before you drop Kmet, because I did see Schultz popped up on the injury report. I don't think it's supposed to be anything serious, but still just keep an eye on it. I mean, not that you won't be able to have someone on your waivers that's in the same level as Schultz, right? But just something you might want to keep an eye on before you just go ahead and drop Kmet.
Yeah. How we feel about these Patriots receivers in fantasy, low-key sleepers. So actually, somebody I actually picked up today because I had Gainwell, so I placed him on the IR because he's already been ruled out. I picked up a Patriots receiver today.
How'd that feel?
It felt somewhat gross, but at the same time, it felt kind of nice. And that is because, like, obviously, it's not Kendrick Bourne. I know people think that it's Kendrick Bourne. Is probably what I was going to say, but it's not. Even though he had a pretty nice little breakout game, it was Demario Douglas who I picked up today. He had 7 targets, and he was somebody that drew a lot of hype in preseason. And I do think this offense is going to be better than it was last year, which is not saying a whole lot because we had Matt fucking Patricia calling plays for them last season, and so I I do think someone like Demario Douglas is somebody that I think it would be a really strong stash because there's not a lot of play. There's not a lot of people in front of him to really see a lot of targets, right? Like there's no alpha on this team. I mean, Kendrick Bourne is we're excited about him. I mean, I think there's players that are in play, and so I do think Demario Douglas would be somebody that I think you can take a look at. I think he actually looked pretty good last week too. So um, that would be the guy that I would lean towards.
Lamar Herbert, rest of the season, I'm going to go with Lamar. Really close.
It's going to be
though.
Herbert for me.
Double M, I know it's gross, but who do I start in a half PPR? Akers, Gibson, McKinnon, or Kev, your boy, Roschon?
That is gross because I don't want to start any of them except for McKinnon. I would go McKinnon. It's going to be a matchup. They're going to throw the ball a lot. It's on the road in Jacksonville. I think you see McKinnon get a little more involved. Like I think it was people should have expected if you drafted Jerick McKinnon, which is not somebody that I was really advocating for, that he was always going to start slow because he is a 30-plus-year-old running back that the Chiefs are going to try to save for the playoff run and like the playoffs. So he's probably not going to see as much opportunity as people think that he should, but it's still a good matchup and a matchup where they're going to throw the ball. So that's where I would go.
Isaiah, Cup for Ridley, 12-man full PPR. Ridley's side wins by far, right?
Yes, because I have talked to a few people that have some inside sources that there isn't a lot of there's some pessimistic views that Cup may not play again the rest of the year.
Yikes.
So, yes, I would make that move.
Sources. Kevin the Source Steele.
Hey, you've been doing this long enough. You know, you get enough. A big enough Rolodex of people. You know, you get some people. You know, so
Jonah, Madison, or T Higgins in the flex. I'm going T.
Yeah.
Kyron or Addison?
Yeah, this one I would probably go Addison. Yeah.
Yeah. Addison there as well.
Absolutely, Shane. Yep. D-Bro. Great comment.
Raylan.
Oh, and then Raylan.
Eat the boneless wings with pride. There's nothing wrong with boneless wings. I
can't do it. Like I could go somewhere and like, can I get boneless wings, please?
That's what I'm saying. If I'm out, if I'm somewhere, give me the bone and wings. Plus, unless you're going somewhere that like actually like knows how to cook. Like if you go somewhere, it's like at a barbecue, they're smoking their wings. Fine, give me the bone in. You know, if I'm outside, if I'm not going to someone's house, but if I'm in someone's house, I don't want to fuck up your furniture. I don't want to go in and take a poop and hit your light switch and smear sauce all over the light switch. You know what I mean? It's just poor etiquette.
I mean, you don't have to be an animal about it. You know, they have a sink. You know, some wipes, maybe. You know.
Yeah, but on your way to the sink is what I'm saying. You brush up against the furniture. You know, you get sauce in a kid's hair. You know what I mean? Silver Badger, pick two: Zay Flowers, Puka, or Swift and a half PPR. I'm gonna go the first two.
I'm gonna go Swift and Puka.
Coward. Living proof. Start it like this. 12-man standard, full PPR. Lamar, Flowers, Keenan, Bijan, Algier, Hurst, Pollard, bench, Cook, Mike Will, Pickens, Elijah Moore, Puka, Musgrave, 2. Making any switches?
Yeah, I am starting James Cook over Tyler Algier.
In a standard?
It says standard full PPR.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. So I'm assuming it's
I'm starting James Cook over Tyler Algier.
I want to get Mike Williams into that lineup. I would put Pollard in over Algier, and then I'd put Mike Williams in your flex.
I'm still sticking with it.
Algier? Or
James Cook, yep.
I mean, it's all right to be wrong. Ugh. Man. Boy, oh boy. Guess I would go Bateman. I mean, we have I think it's like let me see here. Actually, I have 7 point. It's a touchdown difference in the total between the Ravens game to the Broncos game. So I would just go with the higher point total there and just hope that Bateman gets more playing time.
I would go with Bateman. I feel like that game too kind of got out of hand a little bit. They didn't really have to throw the ball as much. So I would go with Bateman. If Jerry Judy possibly coming back, yeah.
I can't remember, but if we were talking about picking up Jordan Love, I'd probably rather play Derek Carr over whoever it was that we were talking about. I can't remember.
Was that the Mac Jones? I think it was Mac Jones.
Mac Jones and Dak, maybe. Patty Fry or Cole Kmet for Double J. If Patty plays, I'll go Patty.
Yeah.
But if not, answers the question for you. Tanny AR Shroud Howell. That's QB. It's on the waivers. Anthony Richardson.
Oh, yeah. Not even thinking about it.
Yep. Uzi. Good to see Uzi in here. I think this is Uzi's first appearance of the 2023 fantasy football season. I was offered Devontae Adams, Goddard for Kelsey, and Khalil Herbert.
No, I would. Oh, you were offered. Okay, I was reading that as the other way around. If you're getting Devontae Adams, Goddard, yeah, I do that.
Yeah,
it's tough to give up Travis Kelsey, but yeah.
Rest of the season, rank them: Akers, B-Rob, Kelly.
Man, I'm gonna go Akers, and then Brian Robinson and Kelly. Probably the way you have it listed.
Yeah,
we haven't seen enough to bury Cam Akers completely. Like he's in the grave. We just haven't started filling it yet. So we'll see if he can climb out.
What are you doing? I'm burying you. Anime. I'm sorry. That couldn't have been more wrong. I also did not see Kirk only getting a 60% snap share either. So now we know. I won't let you down again, Anime. I'm sorry. Pena. Smitty, Waddle, Godwin, Judy, choose 2. It's going to be the first 2 for me.
Yeah.
Let's go. Murdoch. And I was so happy that Laporte at least did something last week. Could have been a bad week for us.
It wasn't like a huge performance or anything, but like it was a lot. There was a lot to be encouraged by with the performance that he put up, and it didn't kill you. He still scored about 9 fantasy points.
Yeah, considering where you drafted him or you picked him up off of waivers, you'll take 8 PPR points.
Yeah,
Mostert,
and
Najee. Sanders picked him.
The last
waiting for you to finish the last 2.
Yeah.
I will go Mostert and Sanders, assuming Mostert's good to go. 2 hype. That is definitely within the realm of possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're gonna score 30 plus again, but I definitely think 15 plus is well for the range possibility.
So AP's talking about trading some of the receivers for an RB. The receivers again were Smith, Waddle, Godwin, and Judy. I don't want to trade Smith or Waddle to try and fix that hole because then you're just going to create a hole at wide receiver. So, once one of those, Godwin or Judy pops off, is, Baker at least looked competent that he could funnel targets to Godwin and Evans, right? And if Godwin finds the end zone like Evans did, you're obviously feeling a lot better about it. So you're gonna have to wait until one of those guys pops off because, like I said, I don't want to trade Smith or Waddle and I think you're fine with Mostert, Najee, and Sanders. It's gonna just gonna be picking the right two on a week to week basis. But I wouldn't want to create a whole wide receiver to try and feel better about running back.
I mean, I think you could send out a couple trades, like I mentioned, with some of the running backs that I want to buy low this week. But like Javonte, James Cook, Kenneth Walker, I think all could be options you could go after. Like I said, James Cook, you might be able to offer Jerry Judy for James Cook, and you might be able to get that done.
Yeah.
And so, like, I would be perfectly okay with that. Like, I really, really want to buy James Cook.
Hurst or Njoku.
Njoku.
Dak or Jordan Love.
You know what? I'm doing it. I'm gonna go Jordan Love. I have Jordan Love ranked ahead of Dak already.
Well, that
I have
that
Jordan
solves it.
Love at QB 15 this week, and I have Dak at QB 18.
There you go. And that's on the table. Ryan over on Bookface, would you start Chig or Higbee? Half PPR. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, Ryan. Thanks for hopping in and asking us a question. It's gonna be Higbee for me, even though I don't love the matchup. I don't love Higbee's volume even more.
This is actually pretty close. I have Higbee at tight end 15, and I have Chig at tight end 16. So I guess I'll slightly lean towards Higbee, but I will say Chig has the much better matchup this week, but Ryan Tannehill looks
the worst everything. The worst everything else.
Yeah.
Favorite week 2 bounce back play. I mean, Higgins is obviously the obvious one, right? Lamar Jackson. Trying to think who was a turd.
I mean, almost everybody at this point.
Yeah, there was a lot of bad ones. Saquon.
I'm gonna go back to the well. I'm gonna go James Cook. I just want to go a little bit deeper, not some obvious, because like Jamar Chase would probably one that I would say for sure. I think he bounces back in a big way. But I think either James Cook or Dameon Pierce are the two guys that I think bounce back really well this week.
Trade Tyreek, James Cook, Judy for AJ Brown, Josh Allen, and St. Brown in a PPR.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, what else? What else can you say? Just very well done, Kane. Good job. If Njoku is available on waivers, drop Higbee.
Yep.
Emmy, good to see Emmy in here. Good to see some of the old faces coming back and making their first appearance this year. Drop A-Chain for Sean Tucker. I have Rachaad White. I would not do it this week, Emmy, just because Mostert was on the injury report. So I wouldn't want to do that just yet. And Rachaad White is still handling a boatload of the touches. So I don't think that's something that's going to happen. If that is going to be a situation where Tucker overtakes Rachaad White, I don't think it's going to be something that happens until, for a few more weeks anyway. I don't think it's going to be something they change right away. Murdoch, Monty or Sanders?
This is Monty.
Monty for me. Lockett, Puka, or DJ Moore. Need one running back, one wide receiver, and a flex.
I'm going to go Tyler Lockett. Lock him in.
And then for the flex, Sanders, Puka, or DJ Moore. I would lean Sanders over Puka, but it's close.
Yeah. I think I'd go DJ Moore.
Just can't quit him, can you?
Nope.
Perry. I'm assuming this is for a top wide receiver. I'm assuming. Perry, if you're still rocking with us, give us some more deets. Let us see let us know what your full roster is. It's kind of hard to answer that in a vacuum. Shauna over on Twitch, trade Puka and Kelly for Godwin and McKinnon. I think we already got that one. Right?
I think so, but if we didn't, yes, we would.
Yes. Lots of Puka hype, but Tutu did the same yardage on fewer catches and targets. Who is really the better option?
I mean, I still think it's Puka Nakua. Like Nakua. So even if Cooper Kupp comes back, I feel like that Nakua could probably play, and like he feels like very much like he's kind of the Robert Woods of this offense, and that's kind of how he's going to be utilized within this offense. Like I know people want to call him Cooper Kupp, but he didn't play really at all like Cooper Kupp. Like he wasn't playing in the slot or not nearly as much in the slot. He was playing it far more on the outside, which is not really how Cooper Kupp is used. He feels much more like a Robert Woods type situation here. So I like Tutu Atwell as a possible as like a bench depth piece.
As a person.
But again, like I still want to say, like, even though that I have Nakua ranked, relatively high this week, there is still this other side of me that's like, maybe we should just like hit the brakes a little bit, right? Like it was 1 week, right? Like it is certainly possible. Like we've seen other players have breakout performances or a big game and then kind of going back to being a pumpkin, right? We're still talking about a player who was a fifth, sixth round pick for the Rams, who ran a 4.7 40. Like we're not talking about like an upper echelon, in terms of like athleticism or anything like that. So like this could still go sideways for sure. But yeah.
And then with Tutu, you're looking at a guy who hasn't done dick for 3 years.
But I will say, I mean, at least he was maybe whether he should have been or shouldn't have been, he was still a second round pick. So
yeah. Gabriel, let us know your other options. Similar to the last question, it's kind of hard to answer that in a vacuum. The Scootsweiler, DJ Moore over under 12 points this week.
I'm going over.
Of course,
I think we get a little bit of the greasy wheel narrative this week, and they grease that DJ Moore up.
Whew. Getting a little saucy in here. I'll go under just because I hate him.
I know you do. I don't know why, but
would you trade Monty and Akers for JT? I mean, if you could weather the storm, like it just feels like unless you're just absolutely stacked at running back for some reason. But I feel like if you still probably drafted JT semi early. And then if you're having Monty and Akers, like I feel like that's going to be hard to weather the storm for the next at least 3 weeks. And then once he comes back, we have to remember this is a guy who didn't get didn't get any touches, didn't get any practice time in during the preseason. And like we see with guys like Josh Jacobs came back, he really didn't do a ton, right? Like it's going to take him a couple of weeks to get back in the swing of things, regardless of where he is, whether that's Indy or somewhere else, right? Doesn't matter where he goes, there's still going to be a little bit of a ramp up period for him. So if you have the depth to weather that storm, I don't mind doing that at all. But I think it could be hard to do.
Yeah, and what worries me about Jonathan Taylor is does he just continue this like silent holdout where like he just doesn't want to play this year and all this stuff? Like that's what worries me and it about him. Like on paper, absolutely you make this trade all day because Akers could just not be a thing, and then David Montgomery for Jonathan Taylor obviously doesn't take a lot of. So there's definitely risk here, and I think the way you kind of described it is probably the way you should look at it. But like if you can make if you can handle the like if you have really solid depth, and starters across the board already, then I think you can make this trade, right? Because these are guys that you traded, like probably drafted sixth, seventh, eighth round, something like that, some of those ranges. Where Jonathan Taylor, if he comes back, let's say week 5 or 6, I mean, he could be a league winner rest of the
Kev, I'll let you answer this one. I won't give my 2 cents since I ruined Anime's week last week. But
season.
who
You
should Anime
ruined
put in
it.
flex? Pittman, Kirk, Gabe, Dave, Jamal, or Khalil? Also, Emmy,
Anime.
thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate you.
We're firing up Jamal Williams. Who would you go with?
I'm not gonna say anything because I fucked everything up for Anime last time. So, but my answer would not have been Jamal Williams. Triggerfinger, pick the best Ravens RB for the rest of the year: Justice Hill, Gus Edwards, Melvin Gordon, or Terrell Davis. Is there another Terrell Davis? Is there a second Terrell Davis that I'm unaware of?
Maybe they're gonna call. Maybe they're gonna call Jamal Lewis up. See what he's up to. Doesn't seem right. I was looking up. Did you know Jamal Lewis is only 44 years old? Doesn't it feel like he should be way older than that?
Yeah. How long did he play?
I mean, it's been
How
a
many years?
while since he's been in the league, right? I mean, unless
I would
Google's
go with
wrong.
I would go with I would go with Gus here. Triggerfinger. Like if I
No,
was
yeah, he's
forced.
44 years old. He got out of the league in 2009. He was in the league in 2000.
Early declare, I guess, huh?
I mean,
It
I
would
mean,
be
what was it? But it just feels like he should be way older than that.
yeah. And I think the best Ravens running back is not on the roster right now. I think it's going to be a Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt situation.
Yeah, I don't love this. I know they came out and said that they're perfectly fine with all their options, but I don't know. I think they probably end up bringing somebody in, but if because Melvin Gordon's completely cooked, but I would go Gus Edwards here.
It's only a matter of time till CHB came through with the icon penny. Fantastic. Already got that one. Matt is on waivers. Joku, Hurst, or Komet. Which two are best for the season? There's only one. We're gonna go in Joku. We're not picking up two tight ends. Abraham. Hurst, I think, would be second for me ahead of Komet. Because if they do start to feed DJ Moore, I think Komet is going to be the one who sees his targets drop off. All you zombies, hold JSN or drop him for Nico Collins. Kev is right up your alley, buddy.
Yeah, we're gonna hold JSN on this one. As much as I am a fan of Nico.
Zombies, yeah, zombies. Do you have anyone else that you could drop? No thanks to Kev. Only
And
league
I'm still
winners.
mad that the whole Rashad Penny thing, like when it first happened, that you were the one that got all the credit for Rashad Penny. Whatever, you hated Rashad Penny, and I was the one that was pounding the table for Rashad Penny to be a league winner a couple years ago. Whenever he went on that monster run for the Seahawks multiple leagues, and then somehow you were on the Sunday show and I wasn't because I think I had baseball or something going on, and you got all the credit. I'm like, What?
The best part was CHB pulling up the receipts and actually dropping in the time tag of when I said it in the video where I said it to. That was the absolute
Well,
best.
because
Is
I was like,
CHB.
"There's no way it was Cody," because Cody hated Rashad Penny. Like it had to be me. I was like, "There's no way it was Cody," and then it turned out it was. Bullshit. Please
Pick
pick
two
two.
here for our
Go
man
ahead.
Tam. Reynolds, Lockett, Sutton, Kana.
I'm gonna go the middle two, Lockett and Sutton.
Give me the middle children. Jordan Love or Danny Dimes this week.
As much as I like Jordan Love, I'm gonna go with Daniel Dimes.
Danny Dimes for me as well. 2 QB league question here for Tam. Goff, Goff, Cousins, Lamar. I'm going to
This is
sit
easy.
Cousins.
Absolutely.
Sperry, good to see Tyler in here. Pittman over Waddle, and if Eckler doesn't play, would you start Kelly over Waddle?
No, I'm not starting any of them over Waddle.
Yeah, it would be Waddle, Pittman, and then Kelly for me if I had to rank all three. Nicholas, should I trade Lamar and London for Calvin Ridley? I have AR-15.
I think I would.
Yeah, to upgrade from London to Ridley. Very encouraged by what I saw from AR. Then we need one here for Tam Cousins, two of Lamar.
Yeah, it's Lamar.
Well, the bone and wings are messy. I'll tell you what, man. What a just speaking of salads and wings. There's a really, if anyone is ever a Steeler fan, you ever make it out to Latrobe for training camp, got to go to Dino's. Dino's is a place where it's exclusively bone and wings. Like would never like the best wings you'll ever have, and they have a salad where they'll chop up the the bones, not the bones, the chicken wings, and put it in the salad. They also will top it on the pizza too. Delicious. CHB, that it was an oversight. I already apologized.
And by the way,
What else?
CHB,
What
we
else do you
weren't in
want?
the league last year. That was
That's right.
Robbie. Jobby was in there, okay, with some other bums that were there from, it wasn't us. All right. You didn't beat the best. All right. So just want to throw that out there too, CHB. Had some injuries week one. Should I start Kyron, Algier, Jamal Williams, or Marquise Brown in RB2 and flex? And by the way, I meant to say this. I'm going to say it now. In our listener league, which is one of the reasons you should want to join our Discord. See, I mean, we're over an hour into this, and we haven't even missed the Discords that we have. That's absolutely free. But anyways, that's how you can join our listener league every year. But I will say this, Cody, you have like run the gamut on the week one waiver wire. Like you
I already
already
have
have
all of
these
them.
players,
I
all of
have
them.
them
Like
all.
I was like Gainwell, Cody's already got him. Kyron Williams, Cody's already got him. Puka, Cody's already got him. I'm like, this dude just crushed week one with he didn't even have to make waiver moves. He already had him on his team. So good job for you.
I did put in a claim on Zach Wilson, and I was heavily outbid. I can't remember who got Wilson, but I wasn't even close. It's like, you know what? I'll throw in one that's like moderate. I don't think people are going to go crazy. I know it's a 14-team super flex, but I don't think people are going to go crazy for Zach Wilson. And I was like, I wasn't even close.
So if you're not in our Discord and being in a listener league next year, if we get enough interest, we could probably run multiple leagues. But if you have interest,
Yeah.
that's why you should be in our Discord, and you can find the link in all of our videos.
This would be Williams and Marquise Brown for me.
Yes, I agree.
Broncos the rest of the season. Fine.
I mean, I think they're fine. I want to stream. I mean, if you didn't get like one of the elite options, I don't think you need to. I'm going to say on $100 budget, I am perfectly okay with going like 25, 30%. Like it is very well the range possible that it is real, and that it's very possible he could be one of the best waiver wire ads we see all year. I mean, more often than not, it is the guys at the first couple of weeks of the season that end up being the best waiver ads, uh, because obviously we just didn't have enough information. As the year goes on, generally speaking, we don't see that a lot. If most of anything, it's more of like a injury happens to a running back, and one of the handcuffs that is widely available ends up becoming available. But other than that, for the most part, especially at wide receiver, these first couple of weeks are the ones where you really find the gems. So I am more than okay with going a little bit crazy to add Puka Nakua.
Yeah, appreciate you, Ashton, coming through with the super chat. You are the man. TX, Juwan Johnson or Hunter in a half PPR?
I'm going to go Hunter.
Yeah, I'm going to go Hunter Henry here as well. I like the matchup a little bit more.
Taiwan 1, Trey London and Elijah Moore for Christian Watson. That's a yes for me.
I don't mind if it's a smaller league, but I think like in a 12-team league, I'd rather have London and Elijah Moore.
Tie 10 point PPR. Alan Eckler, Kenneth Walker, Amon-Ra, Dotson, Andrews, James Cook, Deontay Johnson, Kirk, Herbert, Charbonnet, Algier, Roshan, Bateman, Gainwell, Ahmed. Would you trade Herbert or Algier for Mike Williams?
If I could trade Herbert, I would.
Yeah, especially when you have Roshan.
Yeah.
Do we see Rodgers in a Vikings jersey next year? No, he's still under contract with the Jets. So, no, we won't. And I say 100%
following Brett Favre.
Yeah, I know. But he's 100%. Yeah, he'll be back. I mean, he already posted on his little Instagram, and all the team was, hugging him and telling him, everything. Like, he's going to be back next year. And hopefully, really it should be mandatory. They get grass, which is hilarious because I know some of the players were complaining that, like, for the World Cup that's coming in 2026, it's mandatory for the stadiums that are hosting it have to have grass, and they're going to make those accommodations for the World Cup if they host like the host cities that have turf, they're going to make it, but they won't do it for their own players, which is wild. I mean, we continue to see players get hurt on the surface. All the players say that it's terrible to play on. But hey, let's just keep going with turf and seeing guys they made these huge investments and rupture their Achilles on the field. So who should I start as my flex? 10-man full PPR, AJ Dillon, DeAndre Swift, Michael Thomas, or Cam Akers? This is going to be DeAndre Swift for
me. Oh, I would hope we get a little bit clearer picture of what is going on with I almost said it again. I almost said AJ Dillon with Aaron Jones. Because I feel like if Aaron Jones says I'd rather play Dillon, but obviously you're not going to probably not going to know that for sure. So you know what? Where's Walito? Where is Walito? I'm gonna go Michael Thomas.
Scar, Tyler Algier, or Mostert? I'm gonna go with Mostert on this one.
Mostert if he plays, yeah.
Willie E, Zay Jones, or Christian Kirk? Thanks for the help.
I mean, I think you have to go Zay Jones. I'm
going to go Christian Kirk here, actually.
Okay.
I think it corrects itself a little bit this week. Like, I don't think he's all like this is how it's going to be all year. I mean, you don't go from as good as he was last year to all of a sudden now he's just third fiddle. And this is a different situation again where you're playing. I know the Colts, but playing the Chiefs, like I think you see them go 3 wide receiver far more here in this situation. So I'm going to go Christian Kirk this week. Anime traded Kittle for Njoku. Thoughts? Like I think you obviously, I think you could have gotten more for George Kittle, but I do like Njoku, and I get it that you trade him because you have Debo and CMC. Um, but knowing how tough it is to find reliable tight ends, I probably would have rather have traded Debo than Kittle, just because of the positional scarcity and stuff like that. But yeah, I think you could have gotten more, especially if you would have waited a little bit and had him come off a strong game, and then he would be a lot easier to trade at that point. So
Yeah. Are we making any changes to this lineup, Kev? Lawrence, Diggs, Keenan, Higgins, Pollard, Connor, Mark Andrews on the bench. We got Monty, Bateman, Gabe, Allen Robinson, JSN.
I would swap out Connor for Monty.
Yep, with you. Does Algier make it into any of that? We're still rocking with Monty.
Yeah, I have Monty as a top 15.
Puka or Tutu?
I'm gonna go Puka.
Tua and Danny Dimes, Mixon, Hall, Dylan, Algier, Gainwell, Hill, Higgins, Metcalf, Thielen, Dobbs, Kittle, and Everett. 12-team half PPR. What moves should I make to keep winning? Drop Daniel Jones. First thing I would do. I mean, if Tua ends up getting hurt when you're a concussion or whatever it is, you'll be able to find someone who is in the Daniel Jones-ish type of, like, it's not going to be that much of a drop off. I don't think, unless you're in a league where people hoard quarterbacks. But I would drop Danny Dimes.
I would also drop Gerald Everett.
Yes. No, with Kittle playing this week, or seeming like it's going in that direction. God, I had a stroke there. Jesus Christ, I don't know what happened. Mixon, Hall, Dylan, Algier, Gainwell. Most of your top 3 wide receivers are really strong. I mean, I'd want to, once Hall is fully healthy, I think Hall becomes your RB1, Mixon your RB2. So I think you're fine there too. I don't see anything glaring that I feel like you need to go and attack right now, other than dropping those 2 players and then just getting some more depth, getting some more lottery tickets at some of those positions. Makes me feel young. I don't know what still being gang is, but I assume it's good. I feel like it's a good thing, right?
Oh,
I'm gonna go wake up my wife. Like, babe, you know what? I'm still gang. Did you know that?
Coaching
Definitely
a
getting
now
some tonight.
13U baseball team that I do. Starting to learn more and more. Like I don't feel as old because I'm like picking up all this. I'm like, okay. Starting to learn some of the slang, but then I also still feel like I'm like, it's probably how I felt when I was a kid. When I was like, just shut up, Dad. Like when I was a kid, my dad would try to say stuff that like we would say then, And now I'm like, now I'm not old though. I'm not even in my 40s
cap,
yet.
bro.
Yeah,
I'm not
even in my 40s.
Can't say it. Living proof. Why are we starting Mike Will over Algier or Cook? Algier just left 25 points on my bench. Don't fall into the bench trap. That was also on 2 touchdowns for Algier. Like, that's not something you can count on him doing week in, week out. And this is setting up to be a much better matchup for Mike Williams. The Dolphins, and specifically Vic Fangio, he tends to play a lot of too high safety looks where you're not going to get shots behind them. And the Titans just let up over 200 receiving yards to Olave and Rashid Shaheed, who are downfield threats. So I think Mike Will's in for a big game. Not going to be able to do much on the ground. That was the Titans' MO last year. It's going to be their MO this year, where their run defense is one of the best in the league and their pass defense is one of the absolute worst. That's why. Marcus, dynasty question. Let's go. 10-team Superflex start 8 in a shallow league. Trade Nico Collins for Joshua Kelly. I'm the Eckler owner. Other receivers, Lamb, JJ Hill, Flowers. Side note, what is Nico's dynasty about? What is Nico's value in dynasty? A second. Yeah, I mean, he's probably mid to late second. If it's a 10-team shallow league, I would say, yeah, if I were moving him, just trading him straight up for a pick, I'd want probably like that late second, I think is attainable. But also at the same time, if he keeps seeing the amount of targets that he saw in week one, even if it falls off a little bit, it's going to be hard for anyone to maintain that type of volume on a week to week basis. But I think that could creep up to an early to mid second potentially. Mechie banged up, Tank Dell, whatever becomes of him. Bobby Trees will end up being on a milk carton by the end of the year, so I'm not worried about that. So I think if he keeps doing what he's doing, I think he'll kind of be in that mid second type of value. I mean, I think it would depend on who you have behind Eckler. Like I think Nico Collins will end up having more value than Joshua Kelly by the end of the year. It doesn't seem like this is going to be a long term type of injury for Eckler. Um, maybe he misses a week or two, but I wouldn't be rushing to pick up Joshua Kelly. George, Tua or Fields?
There's gonna be Fields for me.
Rest of the season, do you choose Laporta or Njoku or just stream them according to matchups? Who you picking this week?
Well, rest of the season, it's probably going to be Njoku. Just say it. I know what you're going to say. I know what you want to say. You want to say it's Laporta? And I think it's close between the two of them, right? I mean, one, I think at least right now is projected to be much more of a higher volume and, maybe even a little bit more clear path. And that's for Sam Laporta, where Njoku has a little bit more target competition with, even like Donovan Peoples Jones is obviously going to factor in and have some weeks. Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore. Like it's a little bit more crowded of a situation there. And so I just think, Njoku's a little bit more of a sure thing, but Laporta could easily be, finishes the top 8 tight end this year.
It's Laporta for this week for me. Lucius, thoughts on Josh Reynolds? I mean, I think he's fine in deeper leagues and 12-team leagues. I'm not really all that interested in him, to be honest. Anime's doubting you, Kev. Pivot against Houston has him thinking differently. Abraham, my wide receivers are Justin Jefferson, Waddle, Smitty, Godwin. Okay, well, I mean that changes a little bit, but I'd still like Kev's idea of trying to move Godwin or Judy for a buy low opportunity. Like maybe try and flip, Godwin for Gibbs if you can do that. Even if you have to add something else to Godwin, if someone's panicking on Gibbs and they didn't see the news that it was kind of planned to ease Gibbs in. Having that core of Jefferson, Waddle, and Smith, not something I'd be running to dismantle. I still think I'd rather try and trade one of those, one of the Godwin or Judy. I mean, even for like a Montgomery, if you can't get to like a Gibbs or a Cook, a Javonte Williams, I think would be another really solid option based off of the usage he saw, even though the fantasy points weren't there.
So I just want to mention really quickly with anime. I didn't really get into it with Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams, for one, is a volume play. I mean, he handled 94% of the rush attempts last week, which is the second highest rate in the league last week. Obviously, it's just 1 week of sample. But even Carolina, I mean, obviously they allowed the fifth most rushing yards last week and the most touchdowns to running backs. Obviously, still 1 week, but even last year, you go back, they were still top 15 in the most rushing yards allowed and fantasy points to running backs. Um, last season. So this still isn't a defense that was great against stopping the run last year. And so again, if you can get a running back that's going to handle this type of volume, it's hard to really pass up. Now, I mean, is this a bad matchup for Michael Pittman? No, like I have Michael Pittman as a low end wide receiver 2 this week. Like he's not in a bad spot, but the amount of volume that Jamal Williams likely sees, he's going to get all the goal line carries. There's just nobody else there to take touches away from him. It makes him such a strong, strong play. That's why I have him as like a high end RB2 this week because the matchup is good and the volume is 100% going to be there.
Joe, pros and cons for both Kittle and Goddard. Need to start one and trade the other. I mean, if you're trading one of them, I would honestly put both on the block. I think at season's end, in terms of points per game, I think they're going to be super close to one another. The pros for Kittle is that if he goes off, he is going to win you a week. Like Goddard does not have the same ceiling as Kittle has. The con is that Goddard has a much safer floor than Kittle does. Kittle always seems to be kind of banged up. He can go out and he can get you 34 in a week, and then the next week he goes out and he gets you 4. Like it's just kind of how Kittle is. So that's the pros and the cons for both of them. But I would just put both on the trade block, and I would just take the best offer you get. Honestly, I'd be fine with either one of those and just not worrying about it outside of bye weeks or injuries. Put them on the block. See what you get. Where do you rank Anthony Richardson rest of the season in these scenarios? JT comes back to play with the Colts. JT gets traded.
I don't think it changes. I mean, I don't think it really changes all that much one way or the other, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson for being week one, first start, throwing the football. I think he actually did a really good job. There was some dumb throws, some stuff, but for the most part, when you talk about a player that's a rookie quarterback, like of all the rookie quarterbacks last weekend, he looked the best. Now that's not a high bar, considering, but still, I think Anthony Richardson. I still think there's a path for him to be a top 12 quarterback this year with his rushing upside that he brings. I think with he threw the ball well more than I thought that they were going to let him throw the ball. And like I said, he had some really nice plays, some really nice throws. Yes, he made a couple that were not great, but overall, like it was a really strong performance from Anthony Richardson. Now he's gonna have to learn not to take so many damn hits and put his body out there, even though he is a big specimen. But I will say that I thought overall, I thought it was a really strong performance for Anthony Richardson.
One, it's because Kevin hates Michael Thomas. That's why.
I don't hate anybody. Okay, like that's not.
It's
I
all
don't hate any
right.
player. All right.
It's okay. We're not here to judge you. You do. You hate Michael Thomas. Kittle or Laporta for week 2.
I'm still gonna go Kittle.
I would go Kittle here as well, because like we were just talking about, Kittle can absolutely win you a week, and we have to see a little bit more out of Laporta first before we can say anything like that. Deep sleeper, Donald Parham for the Chargers. I think it's just going to be a rotation. I don't think it's going to be anything where we ever feel confident. I think, that's much more probably like a DFS type play, right, Kev, where you're just looking at like a mid-priced tight end. Like I think it's just going to be, if he catches a touchdown that week, he's going to be fine. But if he doesn't, you're going to be F'd in the A. You know what I mean? Pitts or Musgrave this week?
Kyle Pitts.
Is
I have no confidence in it whatsoever because Arthur Smith should be fired. Like he's such a terrible coach. Like what they're doing with some of the stuff is so stupid. But I'm gonna go Kyle Pitts.
Would you? Is it okay to drop Pitts for Njoku?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would. As
Ooh.
crazy as it sounds, like Kyle Pitts has all the talent in the world, right? He is truly is. I don't think like he's like the next OJ Howard, right? OJ Howard was drafted in the first round. Everybody was really high on OJ Howard. Like Kyle Pitts, but it's the offense that they're in that they don't throw the ball at all. And then you're also tethered to Desmond Ritter. Like it's just a really bad spot.
Yeah. Brunel thoughts: Hurts, Bijan, Dillon, Olave, Higgins, Muth, JSN, Moody, Saints, D, bench, Akers, Eli Mitchell, Bateman, Roshan, Quentin Johnson, Laporta, benched Akers, looking to upgrade at RB2.
Here's the thing. If you were to trade a wide receiver, like that's really your best path, you're just gonna have a problem at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you have like I think you just need to keep working the waivers, right? And trying to and hope that Cam Akers turns it around. If Cam Akers continues to do this for the next couple of weeks, I'm just going to drop Cam Akers. I'm not holding on to. I'm not waiting around for it. We saw this same show
Yeah.
last year, but I think 1 week isn't enough time. But after a couple more weeks, if this is continuing to happen, I would drop him. I think there's some other options that you could look like. I think some guys that like just people just aren't talking about because nothing's happened with them yet. Keontae Ingram, I think would be one that I would be looking at for sure. Because I mean, heck, James Conner's actually already dealing with an injury. He popped up. He was a limited participant today with a calf injury. Something would happen. I don't love the offense, but I think the volume would certainly be there for Keontae Ingram. I think like a Chase Brown, because Joe Mixon looks kind of like dust last week. Now maybe he changes and bounces back, but if something happened to him with the Bengals, then I think Chase Brown would be another one that like a deep kind of player that I want to just kind of stash on my bench. Chuba Hubbard could be another guy that you look at as somebody like that. And then over the next couple of weeks, over the next 3 or 4 weeks, people are going to start dropping these running backs that aren't doing anything for like once we get to bye weeks, start here in a couple weeks, stuff like that. I would be trying to cycle out those guys and trying to. Obviously Roshan's not going anywhere on my bench. I'm holding on to him if you already have him. But some of these other players, even like a Sean Tucker could obviously. I mean, if Rashad White continues to look as bad as he looked just last week, because he was bad last year, and if he continues to look this bad, they are going to move on from him, and they're going to give Sean Tucker a chance. So Sean Tucker could also be a player that I definitely would want to have stashed away on my bench as well. But like, you don't have like a clear cut. Like, okay, you can make a couple trades here, trade some of these guys to land depth at running back. So that's the only thing that would worry me.
Yeah, as much as it pains me to say, like if somebody like Laporta pops off, I mean, he's probably going to be your best option to try and move.
Yeah.
This is what I was laughing at.
Excellent.
Yeah, not good at fantasy. It's just he's been on a roll. He or she, not sure. Not good at fantasy. It could be anybody. Tebow, Demont, Pierce, Dotson, Addison. We need two.
First two.
Yeah. Living Proof, any side totals props you guys are eyeing this week? Living Proof, I have yet to look, but me and my co-host Tom Corson, we do a prop show every Saturday night around like 9:30, 10 o'clock. So the only I will say that I did look and I do like Devonta Smith tomorrow over some places it's as low as like 62.5, but I think like 64.5 is like the most common line. And I do like that over.
Oh, you're not going to tell him? Tell him how great you were at props last week? You gotta hype yourself up, man.
I can't hype myself up because that is when I will go and just fucking shit the bed. I had a very good week last week, but I'm not. I don't want to jinx myself. I had a very good week last week. We'll leave it at that. Just picked up Dawes by dropping Herbert. Thoughts?
Probably a little bit premature. And once Christian Watson comes back, we'll have to see how this played out because Dobbs, a lot of it was the touchdown scoring that he was able to do. That's not something that's predictive week to week, and so yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, I think the Roshan takeover is coming. Like I said, like maybe a little premature, but I don't mind it.
Did you see that run that was on Twitter that about Roshan where he just absolutely truck sticked one of the Packers DBs? I mean, I'm not talking about just like he just ran over. I mean, he ended that man's life. Like just ran the fuck through him. Like it was amazing.
Joe, appreciate you swinging through. Thank you for your time and your questions. Jordan Love or Purdy for one.
This is close. Closer than it should be, but I'm gonna go with Purdy on this. I barely have Purdy just ahead of Jordan Love.
Yeah, Purdy by a smidge for me as well. Akiro, Jamal Williams or Puka at the flex.
It's gonna be Jamal Williams.
Yeah. KW3 or Madison rest of season. Is there a big gap? I still think that there is a chance we see more of Charbonnet as the year goes on. Obviously the Seahawks were kind of playing from behind there, and I think that kept Charbonnet on the bench a little bit. Man, this is. I think I would still lean Walker rest of season.
Yeah, we've seen Pete Carroll still tend to kind of lean on players. Like it's something I think an injury would have to happen to Kenneth Walker for Charbonnet to really truly really eat into the workload for Kenneth Walker. And I think actually the that share that he saw was also pretty strong as well. I think he saw 5 targets in that game too. So it is. I think it's Kenneth Walker because I'll be honest, Alexander Madison did not look good. He scored. He got lucky. He scored that touchdown to kind of salvage the week for him. But Ty Chandler actually I thought looked more explosive than what Alexander Madison did.
Phil Saquon, Ken Walker, Tyreek Ridley, Andrews, Dodson on the bench. We got Pierce, Monty, Addison, Nico, Laporta, Roshan Johnson, Purdy. Thoughts? I think that's a flex here by you, Tebow. And the only advice I'm sure both of us are about to give you is to drop Purdy.
Yeah, we say it all the time. There's no reason whatsoever to carry 2 quarterbacks, especially when you have Justin Fields. I know he didn't have a great week last week, but there's no reason to hold on to Brock Purdy and have him on your roster. You're just burning a roster spot for most of the year because there's probably not many scenarios where I would rather play Brock Purdy over Justin Fields. And then I think you think
I
what?
was going to say, I think even like Laporta is droppable with having Andrews there. As much as I love Laporta, I mean, I would try and trade him first, if he's going to continue to do what we think he could do. But with Andrews, I think Laporta is someone that you could also look at least moving, maybe not outright dropping, but I don't think you need to roster both those tight ends.
So I think what I would do is if I was going to do it, I would hold everything you have this week and hope that like Dameon Pierce has a really strong game. And what you could do is you could take Laporta and Pierce and package them to maybe make an upgrade somewhere. Because Laporta you just don't need. But I also don't feel like I also don't want to just. I feel like that's almost because with as thin as tight ends are, if Laporta has like another really strong game and like he like continue and at least just in usage, like I don't want to like help out a league mate and add a really strong really strong option there. And so I would rather make a trade and be able to get something for him.
Yeah. Shelton, AJ Dillon, Nico Collins, or Nuka Nakua. I'm going to start calling him Nuka. I like that. I'm going to start going Nuka.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Nakua.
Yeah, if Aaron Jones is out, I would go Dillon. If not, I would go Nuka. Should I pick up Kyron Williams by dropping Sam Howell? Yes, one, I would do that. Last one here from Emmy. Pick 2, Rachaad White, Madison Swift, and Kelly if Eckler doesn't play.
Rashad White and DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, that is going to up. Should I drop AR-15 since Fields is my starting QB?
I would maybe try to, since the matchup that he's going to have this week with the Texans, though it worries me because the Texans, even going back to last year, the Texans have been really good about getting pressure on quarterbacks and stuff like that. But I would wait and see if he has another like pretty strong game again this week. And if he does, I would then maybe look at just trading him, right? Because again, I don't want to just drop somebody and help somebody else out. And I think with the value they can, and especially probably maybe somebody who drafted Aaron Rodgers now is going to be really desperate for a quarterback. You look at somebody like that and you go to them. If that's who their starting quarterback was, would be to go and offer them something, or you could do it now too. But it just really depends on what your waiver wire is. But yes, if you absolutely had to, yes, you could drop AR.
Cam B, please help me out with RB2, wide receiver 2, and a flex for week 2. Full PPR, Zay, London, Zay, Elijah Moore, Javonte Williams, and B-Rob. Javonte at the RB2.
Correct.
Zay Flowers. And I'm going to go Zay Jones.
Yeah. This is I'm gonna go Dobbins. I mean, Dobbins actually scored some fantasy points, right?
I'm gonna go Rodgers. I feel like just lock me away in a dark room, put me on ayahuasca, and just let me live my life.
There you go.
Proof right here. Gonna be right here. Saturday night, like I said, like 9:30 to 10, probably close to that 10 o'clock time. But it'll be right here on the channel. So if you haven't done it yet, and again, suck at doing this, if you have yet to like and subscribe, please do that. Tebow, best way to pick up, huh?
Maybe I should drop the Discord because in the Discord we also, if you're not in there, Living Proof, we have a player props channel in there that they tend to drop their props and all that stuff. So, and I'm sure they drop the link to the video anyways in there, or the show whenever we're in there. So one day we'll be good at this, promoting everything, and hey, we could be like the other people that just sit there and try to promote everything the entire time and do all this stuff, and that's all they talk about. It's not us, all right? We're not great at promoting ourselves.
Yeah. Tebow, I would rank them in that order. The way you have them listed is the way that I would rank them. Abraham, would you accept Godwin for B-Rob? I want the Godwin side. Kev can't multitask, so.
Hey, I was trying to get the link in there. Would you accept what? Yeah, if I'm getting Godwin.
There it is, all wrapped up. Any other questions, you guys can drop them in any of the videos that we have. You can also join the Discord that Kev just dropped in. I saw Nick Fulcom, by the way. Should I pick him up over Tyler Bass? I would go with Bass.
Yeah.
All
I was gonna say is when it comes to kickers, all the things you should always care about the most are obviously the teams on the best offenses, and the second thing, or really the most important thing when it comes to picking up kickers, is always going to be applied point totals. That is the most indicative thing on a week to week basis when it comes to kickers. And so the Bills have one of the highest implied point totals on the on the week, and so I think yes, Tyler Bass is 100% in play. All right. And I think that'll do it finally. I think we got them all. So that's what we do. We answer every single question that comes into the chat. So Hope everybody has a wonderful week too. Again, don't overreact. We are only 2 weeks into this SOB. Again, if you guys have any questions, you can leave in any one of our question or any one of our ways you can get hold of us, whether that's Discord, whether that's in the comments section below. We also will be going live on Saturday night for the player prop show. We'll be going live Thursday night too. I completely forgot about us. The DFS show. If you play DFS, the DFS DJ Nation goes live on Wednesday or on Thursday nights, right around 9:15 Central, 10 o'clock Eastern time. We go through the entire slate for DFS, and then on Sundays mornings we go live again to get you ready once again, just like this before lock happens. So that being said, hope everybody has a good rest of the week. Let's win this week. So we can continue our ways to the championship that we are going to win. That being said, have a good rest of the night. We'll see you. Bye.